Yeah, check it. Listen up, we're making noise. Strictly Sports Podcast, bringing all the toys. We wise, Mallz, and Trigga. We the three wise men. Drop the knowledge, breaking records. It's our mission, man. From the field to the court, we cover it all. No topic too big, no team too small. We analyze, we debate, we bring that heat. Strictly Sports crew taking over the beat. Strictly Sports Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Strictly Sports. I'm Be Wise.
I'm Mallz.
Your boy Trigga.
And I'm Lamar.
Joined by special guest.
All right.
Mr. Lamar. How y'all doing tonight?
Can't complain.
Well, we are here. We got news from all around.
Fantastic.
Cowboys got a new era in Dallas, a new era in Las Vegas, a new era in Jacksonville, a new era in New York Jets. Just new eras all over the place. So, let's dive into it. First things first. Mallz, he challenged. He accepted the challenge finally, and the smoke was smoked. He got beat 30-13 with his Dallas Cowboys against the Carolina Panthers. Anything you want to say about this, Mallz?
You got me, brother.
I was gonna put the video of the 3rd and 17 touchdown in there, but I didn't want to rub it in that bad. I need a rematch. Need a rematch. We only got a month. So next slide. Y'all, I'll let y'all get it out for WAP. Congratulations to Ohio State NCAA championship.
Boo.
That's what happens when you spend $20 million on a roster, I guess. So
Right.
hopefully it should return some dividends. Anybody want to say anything else about this? I just had it as a little quick.
No, congrats to Ohio State, man. Ryan Day, he was on the hot seat and he turned it around with the quickness.
Oh yeah.
Never seen that
Yeah,
before.
he saved his job, man. Sometimes that's what happens, and you lose games like the game they lost to Michigan, and then sometimes that can spark a run, that can spark a team. So I think that was a low point for them end of the season, and then they perfect time playoffs come around. They go on a win streak. By far, they had the toughest road to the national championship, and
Right.
I remember I text WAP. I think I text WAP like 2 weeks before the game, and I told him, congratulations, Ohio State's going to win.
Mm.
Y'all manifesting real good out here, real good. All right. Mallz said he wanted to skip this message. You want to say nothing about it? We had it in there from the last discussion.
No, I'm good, man.
All right. Trigga.
Oh, man, this is what the people came to see.
Oops, hold on. Let me get
we got a special guest. We want y'all to get y'all talks in.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Say that again.
All right.
We got special guests. We're going to open the floor up after Trigga gets his opening soliloquy off.
All right, so the rant today. Normally I'm going after a team, one of my teams, players, whatever, but this one's a little different. I think the last time I did it, I was actually giving Mike McCarthy a lot of credit after everything that had happened. So that was a little unusual. But today we're kind of back on schedule, but the subject is more of a general topic than it is focused on a particular team or particular event that's taking place. So it's two things that's been bothering me, that's kind of been weighing on me heavy here. And one thing I want to discuss is this notion that professional sports are rigged. Now, I'm going to stick strictly to the NFL topic, or to the NFL per se, when I'm talking about this. But a lot of people, for whatever reason, think that the game is rigged. And I'm trying to figure out how can that be possible. Like, there's so many people, or so many people will have to be involved to get a desired outcome, right? Like, you got just one team. You got 50-some players, plus, the people in the front office. The commissioner's got to be involved, right? Vegas has got to be involved, right? And then the other team, everybody's got to be in cahoots together. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody got to know the script. Like, it's hard for that many people to have a hand in this thing and for it all be orchestrated a certain way. Just two teams in one game. Now, it's 28 other teams. and other games, and you got the course of a whole season to do that. Like that's who's getting paid to do that if it is rigged. Like that's a lot to account for. Secondly, these players have worked their whole lives to get to where they are. To get to the professional level. They put in a lot of blood, sweat, tears. They put themselves in a lot of pain, and with off-season workouts, building their bodies, dieting, eating a certain way, spending time away from family, sacrificing, all these different things. I would hate for them to be doing that, knowing that outcomes are already being predetermined. Like, what's the point, right? Why are these owners paying these players so much money if the game has already been predetermined? Why is everybody getting bigger bags every summer? Because if it's fixed, what am I paying quarterbacks top dollars for? What am I paying running backs top dollar for? Offensive linemen top dollars for if the outcome has already been determined? So just looking at it, logically, that's a lot. These players, the emotion they put into it. Crying when they lose, crying when they win, crying when somebody gets hurt, putting themselves in harm's way. Going out there literally putting their lives on the line. See DeMar Hamlin, that situation. Guys going out there taking hits knowing that it could have repercussions on their long-term health. You think they're doing that for something that's been predetermined? Like it's too real. It has real life effects for it to be, somebody come in and say, all right, this team is winning and everybody needs to follow suit. Like I get it. The referees make certain calls that looks like they're cheating or they're pulling from the team or whatever, but like, are they really, or are we just tired of seeing certain teams win all the time? But
Right.
I think the
And
only
just
time people think sports are rigged is when they don't get the outcome that they want. That's the only time you hear people say that. Anytime their team wins or the team that they're rooting for wins, it was a clean victory. There's no talks about sports being rigged. There's no talks of anything being fixed. Anytime they get the desire that they want, you don't hear about it. But if somebody else wins or they get the results that they don't want, it's rigged all day long. That's the first thing to come out their mouth. It's the refs. And I don't like that. And I don't think that's fair. But, it is what it is. Some people, they don't understand sports, don't play sports, or have that opinion because that's what they hear from other people online. So they regurgitate that. But sports being rigged, like, come on now. And that's just the NFL. Like, we can get into the NBA. We can get into the MLB, all these other sports leagues. It's a lot of working pieces, man. If they really out here fixing outcomes to these games, I'm telling you. And I know the commitment that I made, playing Division III basketball. I can imagine at the pro level, the type of stuff that these guys are going through, and you're sitting here trying to tell me that it's all scripted. Like, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. But that's the first thing I want to get off the chest. Oh yeah, go ahead. Y'all want to chime in?
I
Or
was gonna
react to
say,
that?
yeah, I agree with
absolutely.
Trigga. A
Am
lot of
am I
times
crazy
people,
for thinking that, or like
no, a lot of times, like you said, people because the team they don't want to win are winning. A lot of Patriots and the Chiefs. What I will say, games have been rigged. There have been point shaving, but not in football. You know how hard it is to rig a football game. Basketball is a little more easier because there's only 5 players. And back in the Mafia day, they would, tell college players to throw games, but it's just a lot of BS. A lot of times, I know the game last night. Everybody was talking about that fourth and that quarterback sneak where they said Josh Allen got the first down. From a referee standpoint, for starters, you don't know where the ball is. Just because the body crossed the line of game, don't mean it's a first down. The ball has to cross the line of game. And then they sat there and talked about, well, one official was across the line, another official one at the bottom. But what y'all don't realize is, that's the proper protocol. They went to the dude who was close to the ball. The dude on the far end, all he's doing is just mirroring. And once he saw where the other official was, he mirrored him. Now, what the mistake he made was he put his hand up like he had the spot. And I guess that's why people assume they got the first down. But that's just a common mistake. Everybody, I make it all the time. It's a force of habit. But to sit there and say, well, one official said he had the first down, other official said he had no. What you're supposed to do, you're supposed to mirror that official, and then once you see what official is, then you get in the right spot. But it won't no rig on that part. Just to elaborate, I saw a lot of comments on that.
See, this
Yeah.
is why you are important to this show because you referee football, so you can give us what the referees are going through and what they're thinking in those moments. A lot of fans don't think about that. Have never been on that side of it. They're looking at it from a player perspective. They're looking at it from a fan perspective. So,
Right.
having you explain that and break that down the way they call it, how they the mirroring thing, I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that. So that
Yeah.
kind of makes me think about it a little bit differently. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that take.
And just to say, the hardest thing as an official, there's two plays: a pass interference and those type of scrum plays. Those are the hardest things to officiate. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been times where I have no idea where the ball is. I'm just guessing. You don't know where that ball is when you got all those grown men in a pile. You don't know where that football is. It's hard. And until you've been in that position, you can't sit there and critique the refs. That is the hardest thing in the world to judge. When you got them quarterback sneaks or when it's on the goal line, you don't know where that ball is. So, to sit there and critique the officials is not as easy as people think it is.
Yeah. Well, I always tip my hat off to the
100%.
officials, man, because they are making these calls in real time. They don't get the pleasure of having the game slowed down in slow motion to determine, what the call should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that they have the replay to help them out to make sure that they get it right. But even to take it a step further about games being rigged, if that's the case, how come the Cowboys have not been playing in the Super Bowl in the last 30 years?
Great point.
With that being probably the most
Yeah, I've
prestige
brought that
organization.
point up several times.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So if it was rigged, hey, Cowboys would sure enough be winning. They would be competing for Super Bowls, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If they was able to buy off, you know what I'm saying? Because one, ain't nobody, Jerry got all the money, and that seems like that's his, that's his thing. I think he valued the bottom line more than he does winning, because if he really wanted to win those championships, he would really get out of his own way. So they can win with all the talent we done had over the past decade, and to far as we've gotten as a second round in the past 3 decades, goes without saying. So yeah, I don't think it's rigged. I never thought it was rigged either, but definitely, if that's the case, then hey, where the Cowboys and why they not, out front in this if it was that easy.
Yeah. And officials, do they
Yeah,
make some
that's the
questionable
biggest point I
calls where you're
made in the
like,
past when we kind of talked about it.
But
Yeah, that was my number one point. I think we touched on it on one of our past episodes talking about sports being rigged. Never really went into detail, but that was my main thing. I was like, if that's the case, Dallas would have been in the playoffs and won Super Bowls. We wouldn't have a 30-year drought because you know how much money that would bring to the NFL. How much them Super
Right.
Bowl tickets gonna cost if they go to a
Right.
Super Bowl?
Yep.
They're gonna do numbers. Everybody gonna get rich. So if that's the case, that's what the NFL wants. You think that would have happened by now? Absolutely it would have. There's no reason why that's only why they gone 30 years without a championship, because it's not rigged. They just allergic to prosperity. If the NFL wanted them in there, they'd been in there.
They ain't even been in the NFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl.
Nope. Still looking for one of them appearances. But just real quick, the second part of my rant, I want to go in. I want to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and what they're doing. And they're the latest team. But I want to talk about dominance. Like, why is nobody a fan of dynasties and dominance? Like, I'm a fan of it because it's hard to do. It really is hard to do. And when you think about it, I'm gonna give y'all a couple points to think about that nobody else really, thinks of when it comes to these teams, especially in the NFL. Because again, you got a lot of guys. So the Kansas City Chiefs, this is their third consecutive Super Bowl. This is the fourth one in the last 5 years, I believe.
Yep.
But the fact that they it's hard enough for them to get there, let alone they've done it 3 years in a row. If you think about it, the only thing that's remained the same has been those jerseys, the team name, obviously Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, but they've had some turnover. Because what does every team go through in the offseason? You lose guys. You know, guys become free agents.
Yeah.
They sign elsewhere. You got to go to the draft. And because the Kansas City Chiefs are so good every year, they end up getting one of the last picks in the draft every year, which means they're not completely, getting the best pick of the litter because of their draft position, because they go so deep in the playoffs every year. So with all that in mind, having to continuously reconstruct the team and continue to build a championship team and to get to the Super Bowl every year with different players, essentially outside of your top players or your cornerstone guys, that deserves to be applauded. That deserves to be celebrated, in my opinion, because it's hard to do that, let alone once. But you're going through all that turnover. You're losing coordinators. Eric Bieniemy was one of the hottest names in the league, hottest offensive coordinator. He's out the league now. He's in college football, I believe. I think he's with Colorado, ain't he? Was with UCLA now. I think he's working with Dion. But the Kansas City Chiefs don't seem to miss him.
Tyreek Hill.
He wasn't the first one that was there. Tyreek Hill, a big name receiver who was there, who went away, and it seems like they got better without him. Like, how you lose a talent like that, and you still are able to win and go and compete for Super Bowls? Like, you got DeAndre Hopkins is there now. Juju Smith-Schuster, this is his second stint with Kansas City. You had guys like Nicole Hardman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a bunch of, a lot of mid-tier receivers over the years. And they still find a way to go and compete and win in the Super Bowl. So my whole thing is we should be, more mindful of how hard that is to do. Go to the NBA, LeBron James, 9 straight NBA finals. Obviously getting up there in age, he's cutting his offseason short every year because he's getting to the finals. And then coming back in the following year, still dominating. That's hard to do. To have that level of play, you got, every year you're going deep to the postseason. You have less recovery time than everybody else. Kind of a disadvantage almost. But yeah, it don't bother them. They power through. They continue to play the way they play and lead the teams to, the championship series or championship game. Same thing with baseball. If you would have told me that the LA Dodgers won the World Series last year, I wouldn't believe you. Talk the offseason they had. They went and signed everybody. They're probably a better team this year than they were last year.
Right.
And they're coming off a championship.
Yep.
I mean, you see their pitching staff for one. Otani coming back, Yamamoto. They got the other kid from Japan, Sasaki, Clayton Kershaw, and they signed Blake Snell. That was the first big signing. Then obviously you still got your cornerstone guys. You got Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Otani in the lineup as well, batting. They re-signed Teoscar Hernandez, which was big. They went and got Tommy Edman from the Cardinals last year, and kept him around. He's there. And then the bullpen, they went and got Tanner Scott, who was the hottest left-hand pitcher on the market, and they went and just snuck Kirby Yates from the Rangers a couple days ago. I mean, like, they just keep adding guys. I mean, right now, I think the last 2 guys they added are actually on the outside looking in because they're trying to clear room on the 40-man roster. They didn't add so many people. Like, that's what you do. Like, you go through the off season and you rebuild through free agency, you rebuild through the draft, and you continue to put the best product on the field. Like, every year, these teams look a little different. And the fact that some of these teams who continue to win go through different players, different coaches, or position coaches, skilled coaches, whatever, and they're able to come back and still compete for championships, I think it's definitely, it should be applauded. Like, it should be, like, people need to think about that kind of stuff that goes into the offseason and how these teams have to continuously be able to put a product on the field that can go compete for a championship. And I feel like the only people who all say, I'm tired of so-and-so, I'm tired of the City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Why is that? Because your team not doing it? You know who's not tired of it? Kansas City fans aren't tired of it. Kansas City players aren't tired of it. You don't think one time they sat around and been like, man, this is our 3rd year going to the Super Bowl. It would really be nice if we just let somebody else get in there and 1 year give them a chance. What winner have you ever heard get tired of winning? When have you ever heard a player that won anything say, "Oh, I'm done. I'm gonna let everybody else have a chance. I got what I need." Y'all ain't heard any athlete ever say that won something?
Nope.
Michael Jordan. He went to go play baseball.
I think that was something more to that story.
Well,
That was more to the story. I was being facetious.
so still, have we ever heard any athlete, any team be like, I'm tired of winning all the time. We should really give these other teams a chance to catch up. Give them a chance to shine. No. Nobody that ever won anything has ever said anything like that. Nobody. Only people that get tired of people winning are the ones who don't win anything themselves and never won anything important or anything meaningful in life. So, of course, they don't understand. They don't relate. So, what do? I want everybody to win. Everybody gets participation trophies. That's the kind of people they are. They're a fan of participation trophies.
I think it's crazy
I
that
just want to get off my chest real quick.
I think it's crazy in a down year for Patrick Mahomes, they win 14 games. So,
bro, like the man pedestrian and shit, he was not by any means putting up big numbers at all. In fact, he turned the ball over a bunch this season. No one's talking about that because they're winning. Sometimes when you win and you keep winning, a lot of those things kind of get dropped by the wayside. My coaches always say in college, winning covers up a multitude of sins. When you win, all the mistakes you make, for whatever reason, don't get highlighted. But as soon as you lose, all of it comes to the forefront.
Let's get into it, Cowboys fans. How y'all feeling?
Woo.
I
think we headed for another long season.
Another long decade.
Again, I think I spoke on it.
What's a decade to 30 years?
I think I touched on it a little bit the last time was on, with you guys, what we talked about. Coaching matters. Having that leader of men leading your organization. Obviously, we talked about Mike Thomas and what he did with the was still doing with the Steelers. This is again, just talent alone not gonna get you where you need to be. That coaching part of it matters. It matters all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. And I don't see this guy being a leader of men. Obviously this is my team. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we might as well brace for more of the same disappointment. We might be all right, might win enough games in the regular season to get to the playoffs, but once we get to the playoffs, it's virtually going to be the same thing. One and done, might get to the second round maybe, but can we get to an NFC championship and actually compete, go to the Super Bowl? We talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, with them losing some of the people that they've lost, yet they still find a way to win. I think that's all Patrick Mahomes cares about. And then you got the right coach with the right personality that knows how to put them in the right position, have them ready for the moments. Doesn't matter what type of talent we got, we're going to take, and I'm going to push and challenge the people that are here. Either you come, get with this program, buy in, be all in, or you go find somewhere else to play. So coaching matters, and I don't see it with this one. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm with him. I'm with Mr. Benefield. I ain't really gonna say too much. I don't know what type of coach. There's a reason why he's been in the NFL for 28 years and never had a coaching position, a head coach position. And he really won't all that good of an offensive coordinator from what it seems. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah, I have feelings about it because I watched the press conference, the introductory press conference. They had earlier today introducing Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach, and there was a lot that I took from that. Obviously the questions they asked Jerry and how how he talk in circles and no one ever really directly answers the questions that they ask him.
Right.
Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones really rubbed me the wrong way by saying, making a remark towards the fans and how they say we've been on this drought. And he kind of made fun of the. I'm like, well, what else do you call 30 years without a NFC Championship appearance?
Right. What you talking
Is
when
that
he was
like
in
not the
quotation?
textbook definition of drought?
Right.
Using the quotation trying to make fun of the fans for talking about this drought or whatever. Like, what else is that? Like, what else would you call it?
Right.
A drought, an absence, failure.
Hiatus.
I got a few names I call it.
Mm-hmm.
Hiatus, huh? I wish we had the decision to say, hey, we take a break from winning championships for the next 3 decades. But and then obviously, Brian Schottenheimer talked. He gave a little speech and everything, and it was very, it was emotional for him because the process he's gone through. And I think a lot of it had to do with some of the things online too. Like he didn't necessarily say it. Jerry and Steven kind of called people out for some of the stuff they've been reading about themselves out there that the fan base has been saying. So they are fully aware, and I'm fully aware. I'm fully certain that Brian Schottenheimer is also aware, because somebody can kind of say something without actually like referencing or like saying it directly, because like he was saying a lot about his family, how they were supporting him and everything. And he got a little behind that. That had to do with people saying things about him being picked as the head coach, and like just getting bullied online and getting trashed and just they're just throwing all kinds of shade at him about being this the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So I think he's been dealing with a lot of that. He sees what people saying. The players obviously see it because they've been on there going back and forth with each other about it. It just looks embarrassing. But he said a couple things that kind of made me hopeful. And, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, that's all I can be at this point is hopeful. Am I expecting anything from him this season? Not. And that's the big thing, because I feel like for the first time, maybe ever, this Dallas Cowboys team has literally zero expectations next year. Zero. Like, it can't get any worse than where it's at right now. Like, literally cannot. It's not that, we don't have a personnel that says, hey, despite the fact that Brian Schottenheimer's your coach, y'all still got, a bunch of studs out there that can play the game, that can still carry y'all to double-digit victories, possibly win the NFC East, and, go and, win a couple playoff games. We don't have that. Our roster is in limbo right now. We got work to do. And we got a guy who's never been a head coach in the position of head coach. And you got a lot of Cowboys fans out there, a lot of people who have just turned their back on the organization completely. And I've seen a lot of people. One dude online, like 15 straight years, was a season ticket holder, and he just canceled it after they made the coaching decision. So there's a lot of people out there that are really hurt behind this. But the fact that this team has no expectations moving forward, I don't know. To me, it has always made somebody more dangerous when the bar is low. However, if the expectations are low and then they go out there and they exceed expectations and make the playoffs, guess what? They go right back up again. Mm-hmm. So as for right now, no one's expecting anything. Nobody's giving them the time of day. Everyone's expecting them to fail. No one's expecting them to be good. Like, everything is absolutely like we're at rock bottom right now. We're at rock bottom right now.
But
so
that
I think that's a good place for them to be.
That rock bottom depicts the actual culture of the Cowboys organization. And until that culture change, it's going to be more of the same.
Yep, I agree, and that's why I say, and no expectations. So us Cowboys fans are already expecting the same thing they normally do, which is be a disappointment ultimately, and that's if they go in a regular season, and they win 4 or 5 games and don't make the playoffs, or they make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round, or they don't make it past the second round, or whatever. Well, we're expected to be disappointed because that's what we've been used to for the last 3 decades now. Like I say now, because there's no expectation. Obviously, they can go out there, play freely. And honestly, depending on what they do in the offseason, and then the draft, that will really tell the story. That will really tell the story because right now, with Brian Schottenheimer in his position with the team that they currently have, in the press conference they say they're going to get better. They say they're going to hit free agency and actually you'll do some things this year, which is what they usually do. But again, we've heard this team make promises before. Like Jerry said it last year, we're all in, and we found out that they were all out. So it's all talk right now, but we'll see. Like if Jason Garrett can be coach of the year and win 13 games, despite not really being a great coach, I'm not saying Brian Schottenheimer will be, but I'm saying that if the Dallas Cowboys can put talent around at every position, you give him some stars on the offensive line. If Dak can somehow, be a great quarterback, you actually get a legit running back. You get another receiver or two to play with Lamb. That's a threat. Obviously, you retool on defense. You get some boys up front that can stop the run. I was talking about you load up at every position, give him everything that he needs, and the team can win despite him. We've seen it happen with Jason Garrett multiple times. The team can win despite him. But, again, they can win 10, 11, 12 games next season under Schottenheimer, but playoffs, that's where it's going to count. And that's where we've seen the differences between good coaches and guys who shouldn't be there.
So what's their first pick in the draft?
But we'll see. I'm optimistic. They are picking 12th as of right now, unless they trade up or trade down.
So what you think they're gonna do with that first pick?
I think if Ashton Jeanty is on the board, they're going to take him, that running back. If not, it's got to be a defensive tackle or edge rusher, in my opinion.
What about that offensive line?
I think the offensive line, they just need time because they actually did pretty good. I think the last 6 or 7 games, they were actually one of the best offensive lines in the league. Like they weren't giving a lot of sacks. It seems like they finally together. And that was without Zach Martin, by the way, when he went out with his injury. It wouldn't hurt to pick up another lineman, especially with Zach Martin in retirement. But I think our biggest issue the last 2-3 years has been stopping the run. We're very, very weak at that on defense. And I would really like for them to get who they need up front so that we can start to get a hold of that. Because that's been killing us.
Trigga.
I know they tired of having guys coming in and running for 200 yards on them every game, every week. What do you say?
My question is, what do you do with Micah Parsons? Yes, he gets a lot of sacks, but he disappears in big moments, and he is a huge liability in the run game, as you just said. So do you re-sign him to a big deal? And with our cap space,
they got to have the right pieces to go with him.
You're going to re-sign him because Eberflus signed Sweat in Chicago, so you're going to re-sign Micah.
Okay.
You got to.
And then Micah also said, I don't know if he's still Micah was saying that he would be willing to take a pay cut so that Dallas could get what they needed to go along with for his deal. Now, I don't know if that was just him talking. I don't know if his agent came in like, hey, nah, we ain't do that. Or what's going to happen, but he is on record for saying that, he would take a pay cut so Dallas can go and fulfill other needs, given a lot of that money already has been given to Dak and CD. So we'll see what happens with that. And hopefully they get it done and it doesn't linger all off season and into the regular season like it did with Dak and CD Lamb. But I think if Dallas, if they go out and they draft well and they go in free agency and get a couple of veteran players that can come in and contribute. Khalil Mack is out there. He's a free agent. I think Stephon Diggs is a free agent. He's injured. I always love injured players coming back, rehabbing them, and picking them up for dirt cheap. And I called it last year when Stephon Diggs got traded to the Houston Texans, and they restructured his deal so that he could opt out and become a free agent after this season was over. I was like, he's gonna end up in Dallas in free agency. Because him and his brother have been trying to play together forever. They, even when Stephon was in Buffalo, there was rumors about Buffalo possibly trading Stephon Diggs, and Trayvon Diggs was campaigning for the Cowboys to go get him, and now he's gonna be a free agent coming off a big injury. His market's gonna be low. They don't have to spend a lot of money to sign him, so it'll be a very low risk, high reward situation here. You get him, and if he does return to even half of who he was, that's better than what we had in Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks and whatever other receiver that we went and scraped up off the street. So I would take that next to CeeDee Lamb. Because we don't know if Brandon Cooks is going to be back either. He's also a free agent, I found out.
Goodness.
So they got a couple of names out there in free agency they can go get, and obviously there'll be more players. Those are just the only two that popped in my head at the time. Thinking about players of need that the Cowboys could go after. Probably won't have to pay a whole lot for them. But if they go out and they do that, and like I said, they draft well. They put a team around Dak, and they put a good defense together. They get a good defensive coordinator, which I read up on Eberflus. If he becomes Dallas's defensive coordinator, he's actually not a bad defensive coordinator. Some guys just don't have great stints as head. They're better off as coordinators. And we saw that with Dan Quinn. He revitalized his career in Dallas, and now, look at what he did this year with the Commanders. So some guys are just like that, The head coach don't have success, they go back to coordinating. They get a little success, they go back to coaching, and, they become successful. So that could be the case with Eberflus. I don't know, but a lot of people speak highly of him when it comes to defenses. And Schottenheimer's he's more an offensive guy, but I'm questioning who they're bringing in or who they're going to hire as offensive coordinator now. I haven't heard anything on
Jason
that front,
Witten.
so we'll see about that.
He's a Jason.
No. If they bring Jason Witten, if they bring Jason Witten in as offensive coordinator, I'm going to go on Indeed and find an application and apply to be the running back coach or something. Because you handing out jobs to people with no experience, and I think the rest of the public should have an opportunity to do so as well.
So let me ask you,
I'm gonna go and apply.
What you said with the press conference. So for me looking at it, you said that they were defending the hire. Do you think that was Jerry and Steven stroking their egos, or do you think it was them more of finally coming to the realization, like, we hear all the noise, we understand, like, I'm Jerry Jones, I take my risk, I'm not risk averse. Like, do you think that they are finally waking up?
This man said, I'm very good at managing the cap, but we haven't done a really good job.
Yeah, right there.
Like, does that not sum up Jerry Jones right there, or what?
Right.
I think the Cowboys gonna win under Steven.
Telling you, man, it is amazing.
You think they're gonna do what?
It is amazing.
I think they're gonna win under Steven. I like Steven. You can tell he's from Jerry, but he gets it a little bit more, I think. But I think young head coach, like the wave is going. He has the lineage. I get what Jerry's banking on with the osmosis, and hopefully something rubbed off on him. But I disagree, Trigga. It's the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be pressure year one. So I think that's what's going to be really dependent on, especially in the tough NFC East, which I went on record in a group chat saying I think that's going to be the NFC North next year, because I think the Cowboys will bounce back and win 11 to 12 games next year.
In 1 year?
Yes. Depending on draft and free agency, I think y'all can answer a lot of y'all needs with the draft.
We definitely got to see how that pan out, man. Because again, as you just stated, the NFC East, obviously with Daniels, just got that much tougher. Obviously, the Eagles ain't going nowhere. who knows what the Giants might do? You know, they look to be on the bottom of the East right now. You know what I'm saying? Looking up at the Cowboys, obviously, but the Cowboys got to hurry up and get it together. And then Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, them teams in the NFC. I'm sure the 49ers are gonna bounce back. So the NFC, I think, is gonna be real tough next year. Kind of like how the AFC shook out this year, with Kansas City and Buffalo and the Ravens, kind of leading the way. And I think Cincinnati gonna work their way back up in there, next year to be a threat. If their defense could have done anything this year, that would have been a different team. That'd have been a team nobody wanted to see in the playoffs, Cincinnati. So, it's not going to get any easier for the Cowboys. And again, man, that like I say, coaching matters. The culture, you got to change the culture, man. And it starts with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones really need to just go somewhere and sit down and get out the way. You've had opportunities to bring in a guy like Belichick. Obviously, Belichick don't want to coach for him because he know what he's getting into. I'm pretty sure Dion shut it down. I guarantee you, if Dion could have had his way, could have had that power to come in there and be a leader of men and be that face of the organization, Dion would have jumped all over that. And that's the guy that we need, that type of guy. But he ain't coming up in there because why? Jerry Jones ain't going to let that happen. We saw what happened with ever since, he did what he did to Jimmy Johnson. It's been all down here. So, I don't know. I think 11, 12 games, that's a stretch. Unless they really hit the lotto in the draft, you know what I'm saying, on all levels.
Yeah, I don't see 11.
Yeah, that's going to be the key.
Their schedule is much difficult next year. That roster is, we don't know what that roster is going to look like. We don't know what Schottenheimer is going to do as a coach. Like we all said, the division is only getting better. Philadelphia, now I say it time and time again, Philadelphia has been the most consistent team in the NFC. They have made the playoffs 7 out of the last 8 years, and then in the second Super Bowl in 3 years. In Washington, Jaden Daniels is on the rise. I think he's gonna struggle next year, sophomore slump, but I think he's gonna be great. And shout out to Jalen Daniels' mom, by the way. Did y'all see that clip she put where she was like, she ain't gonna let none of these gold diggers mess with her son? I can commend that. Look out for your son, man. I know a lot of people be like, he a grown man. No, look out for your son. But there's a lot of women out here that's gonna try to get, they see him as a meal ticket. So shout out to Jaden Daniels' mom. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's big time.
Blocking his blessings, mama.
He put God first, so he gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think the younger kids got their heads on straight more than some of these others.
We saw that with
We
saw that with James Harden when he was trying to date one of the Kardashians, his mom and sister. They put an end to that before he even started. So shout out to them, man.
Yep. But that's why I say the Cowboys. Y'all talk about the division being hard, and the Eagles and the Commanders running the NFC East, and then the rest of the NFC. Even more reason why I don't have any expectations for Dallas. So yeah, it's going to be harder for them next year to win a lot of games because everybody else around them is so good already, which further lowers my expectations for them to do well.
All right. So,
but
let's.
you change your hat.
Hello?
Yep.
Y'all can hear me now?
Yep. Yep.
We have technical difficulties here on Strictly Sports.
I don't know what's going on. If y'all can hear me, let's dive into the championship weekend.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about the NFC or AFC first? Hello? All right. Well, I'll just say,
I think he went back on mute.
okay. Yeah, I'll say the NFC Championship did not go how I expected. Washington kept it as close as they could in the beginning, but turnovers is hard to overcome. They had 4 turnovers, and I think Philly scored on all 4 turnovers. I think they had 28 points off of
28
turnovers.
points.
You just can't win playoff games like that. Philly is the most complete team. I have my out on Jalen Hurts, but he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong yesterday. He did his thing, but so congrats to Philadelphia Eagles. Trust me, that was the toughest football game I've ever watched. To sit there and watch your 2, not 1, but 2 of your arch nemesis fight to go to the Super Bowl. It was the hardest thing to ever watch. I think that's the first game in history I've ever where I didn't root for nobody. I was kind of hoping they both lose. Somebody found deflated footballs and they both lost or something like that. But Kansas City, man, what can you say about Kansas City?
Tip your hat.
Yeah. I say Patrick Mahomes has had, I don't think he's the GOAT yet, but he has had the greatest start to a career in any sport. 7 AFC championship games, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl wins, 2 MVPs, and he didn't even start his rookie year. So every season he started, his season ended in the AFC championship game, at least. That is, unheard of. So, the Buffalo Bills, I don't know. That is the craziest thing. They dominate Kansas City in the regular season. But then when it comes to the playoff, it's just a whole different ballgame. I don't think I've ever seen that before where, a team dominates them in the regular season, but then can't beat them in the postseason. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, they are great quarterbacks. But they are in an era where they have to beat Mahomes. Joe Burrow already done it. But, it's going to be hard for them to win the Super Bowl ring in the AFC.
So I put Lamar Jackson in the same category with Dak Prescott. Regular season, he the man. He winning. Come playoffs time, choke city. Now, I'm not putting the loss on the loss to Buffalo on Lamar Jackson, but again, he ain't 100% clean because he turned the ball over in the first half. And even though everybody that was down on Andrews for him dropping that pass and that 2-point conversion, don't forget the first half. That puts you, behind the proverbial chains. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, that fumble that he put on the ground, that got scooped up and they ran that down into field goal range, right? The pick that he threw, like you say, you turn the ball over in the playoffs, man, it's just, hey, that's your quickest, you're done. You lose that turnover battle because, hey, these teams are great. You give them, especially turn it over on a short field, you give them a short field, you essentially giving away points. So, but again, come regular season, nobody's better. The only difference between Dak and Lamar is, Lamar good with his leg, he can hurt you with his leg. You ain't got to worry about Dak running too much. And he can throw it when he own. But when he off, man, you be like, man, what was you doing, Dak? You see what I'm saying? And come playoff time, that's what we get. What was you thinking? What was you looking at? What was you doing? What really? So what's their records in the playoffs?
Right. 2-5.
Yeah.
I think Lamar is 3-5.
I
Okay.
think
All right.
Lamar's 3-5.
So he a game up on that. But regular season, they putting up crazy numbers. You know, a couple seasons ago, the last 12-5 season Cowboys had, Dak could have been the MVP for the regular season. But come playoff time,
Yeah, last year actually Lamar and Dak went head up for the MVP award. Dak should have won it in my opinion.
Right.
His numbers are better, kind of like how Allen's numbers are. Lamar's numbers are better than Allen's was this year.
and then for Josh Allen, I don't know, man. You know, I don't know what else he can do playing against this guy.
Right.
You know, he wasn't trying to be Superman. You know, he cleaned up his game quite a bit this year. Josh, I actually developed a little respect for him, you know, at the quarterback position this season. Now, before, he was always doing something to, you know, it turned out to be detrimental for his team, trying to be a hero, you know, trying to do too much. He didn't do that at all this year. You know, the game he played yesterday he played good enough to win, but, hey, came up short.
Right.
Came up short.
Pat McAfee today, and they said Patrick Mahomes has turned Josh Allen into Phillip Rivers.
Turned him in what?
Into Phillip Rivers.
Oh man.
I mean, I think Joey B is going to be the only one who could probably knock Patty off.
Well, yeah, he's the only one that done it so far, and Brady. But Brady's not in.
Yeah.
Now, for me, based on recency bias, Saquon should be the MVP based off.
You know, I thought
everything
about that. I was like, you know, I wouldn't go against that.
Touch the other day was 60 yards to the house, broken tackles. I mean, Saquon is special. Saquon is special back, and I feel sorry for you Cowboys fans who said y'all couldn't use him. Or who was it, Jerry? What did Jerry say?
Yeah, couldn't use him. Couldn't use Derrick Henry. Just, you know, again, we need a GM.
Yeah.
It's not Jerry Jones, that's for sure.
So I'm gonna give Mallz his 0.2 of home field advantage, even though it didn't.
We can get the LA Dodgers front office in Dallas. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, they ain't playing around.
Clearly, you ain't got to know. I think the Dodgers would be better managing the Cowboys than the guys who are managing now would be. The LA Dodgers office in Dallas.
Oh, yeah, not gonna be.
They're gonna make some moves. They're gonna sign some players. Cowboys ready to compete next season. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Their moderator?
So, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Pro Cowboys.
What were you saying? We still in the NFL. We ain't got to NBA yet. I don't know, Trigga, you want to touch on it real quick? The Jimmy Butler situation?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler got suspended for the third time this month.
Did he really?
It's really gotten ugly. It's really getting ugly in Miami, man. It really is. Jimmy Butler is like, it's not a good look for him because the teams that are looking to trade for him are like, no, they ain't not going to want to do with all that. This man's got a bad track record when he wants his way, he really shows up. Above and beyond, doing all these point or to get shipped out of there, and it's just I don't know, it's just been toxic here lately. But it's getting ugly and uglier. And he missed. I suspended 7 games, and he came back suspended for 2 more games, and then he's coming back and it was informed around today that he was not starting, and he walked out, and now they suspend him indefinitely, but they're saying it's going to be at least 5 games. I'm guessing, without looking at the calendar, that's going to put us up to the trade deadline, and maybe they'll have something worked out by then to where they can just ship him off, and hopefully Miami get something respectable back for him so where they can still compete, because they're very much alive in conference. Like, everybody's hovering around 500. No teams really have a lot of separation between the 4 through 10 seed. Everyone's hovering around the same record. So we win a couple games in a row, or we go on a little winning streak here, we can make a difference between us being a top 5 seed or a play-in team, or missing the playoffs completely. Who knows? But there's been some rumors out there. There's been some projected trade packages given which teams are able to make the deal work with Miami. I've seen some packages that I didn't in turn for Jimmy Butler. I did see a couple that I did like, that I would be okay with. But I feel like whatever happens is not necessarily going to be these experts are projecting to happen. It's going to be a curveball somewhere. But I know Miami has stated that in turn for Jimmy Butler, they want to get back guys who can help win now. They want to get back some picks, and they want to get back, if any players at all, players who don't have large contracts. So that's going to rule out a couple people like Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine. But there are others out there could potentially be on the trade market. Brandon Ingram, DeMar DeRozan, a couple mid-tier guys like that. No superstar, but I'm hearing, the Milwaukee involved. Might get Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis in exchange for Jimmy. Which the more and more I think about, I'm starting to warm up to that. I didn't like that at first, but start to it. Middleton's hurt. He's not the same player he was. And Bobby Portis, Bam, and Khalil Ware. Oh my goodness.
And Yami, don't you gotta stop cutting on my rope.
Hold on, no, time out. Let me finish. I've been begging Miami to get bigger. So they got Bam, who's really a 4, who's been playing a 5 forever. But you got Ware now, who's finally coming along. His last couple games, he's putting up big numbers. And he changes shots on defense. Obviously he rebounds. Having a 7-footer next to Bam, another guy who's 6'10", 6'11". Like, finally, we can get on the boards and compete with people. And get some offensive rebounds. Second chance, third chance. With those guys on the floor. They're supposed to finally do it with that small ball. So, the more and more I think about that, the more and more I warm up the idea of having Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis. But Chris Middleton, if he's anything like how he used to be, that would be nice. Tyler Hero seems like he's taking that next step. He's having an all-star year. He's literally putting up career highs in everything. 3-point percentage, points per game, rebounds, assists, everything going up here. So he's been the guy that they're kind of going to on offense. They've been playing through. Bam has obviously been doing what he does. we still need a third guy to come in and help match them with the scoring, keep things up on the offensive end. I've also been seeing Cal potentially being named. He might go after. He's another 20-point per game guy. And nicely, I think he can replace the production that Jimmy's given us on the offensive end at least. I don't know what he's going to do defensively, but he'd be a nice addition to the offensive side of the ball. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, a lot of teams aren't putting up their best players because they know Jimmy is so they trade away a group of players, core players, and some really important draft picks just to have a few months of Jimmy Butler. I don't know what else they were going to do. You know, see what happens. I just hope that he can work out here soon so we can get rid of this passion because I feel like this is very like Miami. Like I'm not used to them being in the news for stuff like this, anything but basketball. So I would like for them to get rid of this problem, and then for the players' sake, because they're the ones who have been affected the most, right? Jimmy's got beef with the office. The players are the ones being affected because he's not on the court, and then when he is out there, it's got to be awkward. And having him in the locker room and things like that, knowing that he don't want to be there, and he's still there, just kind of hanging around. Like that's got to be some kind of distraction to have to deal with. And I don't think that it's fair to the guys who are there, who are committed and they want to be there. And I get Miami's not just shipping them away just so that they can make everybody more comfortable or big things easy going again. Again, they want to get best bang for their buck. But at this point, I'm like, hey, just take some picks, free up some cap space, something, so y'all can compete 2 years from now if it really is this bad or this awkward, I don't know. 'Cause like I said, no matter who they get back, they're not going to win this year unless something crazy happens. Excuse me. But
Bless you.
thank you. But appreciate you. But I don't know. I don't know what Miami. I hate to be in their shoes having to deal with this, but it's starting to get out of hand now. Third suspension this month. Like something's got to give here at some point. Hopefully, both parties get what they want.
I appreciate the analysis, Trigga. Now let's get to the big moment while we got everybody here and our guests here. Let's get the thoughts and predictions. Super Bowl 59.
Well, we should do that next week.
Oh, you're right. We got Pro Bowl and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, unless Mr. Benjamin wants to give his prediction now.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Kansas City, man. Kansas City. Y'all know what it is.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Y'all don't think Saquon gonna run over?
Huh?
I mean, I think history will be made.
Andy Reid right now instructing the defensive game plan to slow that down. I ain't saying stop it, but he gonna slow it down.
I can agree
You
to
gotta
that.
believe he ain't. I don't see him popping those 60-yarders though.
Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator, got a great game plan, great calls and timely situations against the Buffalo Bills. Like I think that carries over into the Super Bowl game as well. Yeah. They got 2 weeks to prepare for them now.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna come down to Jalen Hurts and what he do with his arm, but Saquon just running away like he done, and thus far in the playoffs, that ain't gonna happen. So they hung 55 up on Washington. They probably should have saved some of that.
I agree.
All I'm gonna say is,
yeah,
Bryce Young went toe to toe with both of these teams and the Carolina Panthers. And we beat Philly if we catch that ball, and if Patrick don't get that little scramble, we beat KC. I'm just gonna say that. NFC is gonna be big next year, but I think Philly gonna win it.
Right. Oh my gosh!
Don't hate
You
Trigga.
think
Don't
Philly
hate.
you think Philly gonna win? Why?
I cannot have you putting that energy in the air, sir.
Philly got the best player in football right now.
Whoa. Whoa,
No.
did you just say Philadelphia had the best player in football?
Philadelphia has the best player in football right now.
Oh my God, you talking about soccer?
Here we go.
No, I'm talking
You
about.
know who plays quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs?
And what did we say earlier? He's having a down year, and they're still winning in spite.
And he's having a down year, and he's still the best player on the field.
But he's not the best quarterback in the league.
Who's not the best quarterback in the league?
Patrick Mahomes ain't the best quarterback statistically wise this year.
Okay, yeah, statistically.
Maybe not statistically.
Saquon is the best player, the best statistically, and the best on the field for the Philadelphia this year.
No, you want to know why I disagree with that? Because Saquon doesn't touch the ball every play. You can take Saquon out the game. How can you take Patrick Mahomes out the game?
The Philadelphia Eagles made it to the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. The Philadelphia Eagles made it to the Super Bowl with Tanner McKee and Kenny Pickett taking snaps this year.
And okay, and they then take Patrick Mahomes.
I'm just saying, I understand, but we're gonna see. I want to see how Patrick Mahomes tackles hold up, and I like Saquon, especially with that Philadelphia offensive line, and they ain't gonna have to run the ball. And then Patrick, you can't get away with all that kind of stuff that you're gonna have with this Philadelphia secondary. So I think it's gonna be a little bit tighter, and I like Zach Bond against Travis Kelce too. So I think it's gonna be closer than I think it's gonna be as close as it was last time.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a
So
blowout,
so who did you have for the AFC game this weekend? You had Buffalo then, didn't you? Tell the truth.
I don't think I had, but I think I had KC. I gotta find our picks.
I know somebody picked Buffalo. Was it you, Trigga?
I think Trigga picked Buffalo.
Yep, I sure did. I thought it was gonna be here.
I gotta find who I picked. I think I picked KC, but I am not too sure.
I think I picked Buffalo and I picked Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, now I did pick the Commanders to win, so I wasn't nowhere close to that. But
Yeah, I picked the Commanders only because I didn't want to see Philadelphia in the Super Bowl.
right.
But I knew that, just like the Tigers went on that little run last year, in the Major League Baseball, right, where they got hot after the All-Star game, and then made it through the first round of the playoffs, get to the second round. They fire just ran out, and I knew that was going to happen with Washington. I figured it was going to run out against Detroit. So I was shocked that they pulled that off. I was glad, obviously. Since I'm down here in Detroit, and I get a lot of hate since I'm a Cowboys fan. So, I hit them with the what up dough when I came back home. I was on cloud nine since they dropped that one. But I was like, yep, it would have been nice to see the rookie get to the Super Bowl and maybe do something again. I'm not a fan of neither team because I'm a Cowboys fan. I'd rather see Washington in the Super Bowl this year versus Philadelphia. But I knew that energy was going to run out at some point. And obviously, hey, NFC Championship, it came, reality set in.
I think something that's going to be something to watch over the next couple of years too is with this season that Jaden Daniels just play himself into $50 million a year, no matter what happens the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to repeat next year because now they got tape on him, so they're going to be able to study, his tendencies and his strengths and weaknesses and all of that. So they'll play him a little different, next year. He do look like he's cool, calm, and collected, and he's ready for those moments. So we gonna see.
Yeah, I think the same thing because it's tapes out there. I think he'll do fine. I think he's a good quarterback, but with the Trevor Lawrences, the Tuas, and all these players getting those big contracts, Jay Daniels went to an NFC championship. He's you earned yourself a bag, young man.
Yep.
So I think that's it football wise. So I think that's it football wise. Trigger, you got anything MLB you want to touch on? Anybody got anything else? Open floor before we wrap up.
Ooh, I think the Dodgers looking. Ooh, wee.
Does baseball need a salary cap?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
if you're a
Man.
Yankees fan, yes. Anybody, and fans of the other 29 teams, yes. If you're a Dodgers fan, you love what's happening right now. I mean, they're taking advantage of every loophole. You know, they deferring a lot of those contracts and stuff. Like, and they're getting away with it because, you know, there's no rule against it. So, you know, you think other teams will be doing it, but the Dodgers, they want to win. They want to win now. They want to keep winning. And like I was saying earlier when we started the show, man, people who win every year, they do what's necessary to keep themselves in the picture. And the Dodgers act like they ain't won a World Series in a very long time. By the way, they went out this postseason and picked up all the guys they picked up, plus the team they already had. So, yeah, I don't see this team losing any less, than 50 games. Or I'm sorry, I don't see this team losing more than 50 games next season.
Dang,
Like
so
they got to win
100
at least 100 games.
You got to win at least 110 games.
Yeah, they can pull. They should be able to pull that off relatively easy, I think.
Yeah, with Shohei pitching too.
Yeah. If they lose, if they win less than 100 games next year, I will be surprised. If they're healthy. Now, if they get hurt by injury and they lose like 3 or 4 different guys, whatever, that's different. But if they're able to stay healthy and they somehow lose, win, or they win less than 100 games, I would generally be surprised. I expect them to win somewhere between 100 and 110 games next season.
Yeah, because I mean, with Shohei
Given
coming
that
back
roster
to
the way they
pitch,
look on paper, man, they have no weaknesses on none.
it's like you got a free
None.
agent
Pitching,
ace.
the hitters, bullpen, they are loaded.
So my
Top to
thing
bottom,
is,
loaded.
if they're loaded on, they're so loaded on pitching, why even put Shohei back in a rotation? Just keep him hitting.
That's what's gonna make them so
Because
dangerous.
he's a good pitcher when he's pitching.
Man, that pitching. Look. Now, obviously, they got some bats, but man, when you got a pitching staff like that, that's what's gonna win you the championship. That pitching.
Right.
Because again, come playoff time,
it's one thing if
it's about who got the toughest pitching staff that's delivering. You can't hit these guys.
Can't give up a grand slam, and
look, we ain't talking about all that. If
he's my government.
If you can pitch, that's one thing. But if you can pitch like Shohei pitches, you want him out there.
Yeah.
It only makes you harder to beat. But yeah, they're loaded. They have no weaknesses, man. They are all. That's going all in right there. That's the definition of going all in. The offseason that the Dodgers had, take a snapshot. That's all in, people. That's what it looks like.
All right, let's get your ending thoughts, everybody.
We're still looking for an infielder. Almost spring training. We ain't got an infielder. Somebody do something, please. Start deferring some contracts or something.
All right. Any more ending thoughts? Anything anybody got?
I'm good.
Mallz, when I'm getting my rematch.
And when we can do it this week.
All right.
Yeah.
We're doing $100 a point.
Yeah, with trade money. You got $100 a point.
Yeah.
Oh, you tripping.
I would like to stream it. We might stream it. I might stream me and Mallz rematch. We'll
You
see.
can do that.
No, I
It'd be
think y'all
pay-per-view.
should.
If I work the audio on it, we won't talking last time, but you got a mic. We'll figure it out. But Carolina getting 9 wins next year. That's my ending thoughts.
Okay.
Just 9, huh? That's it.
I got 9 and 2 possibles, but it's I think we get a wild card.
You said
And,
9 wins in 2 years.
No, 9 wins and
So 9
2
and 2
possible. And we're gonna be at the Cowboys game next year too, because it's the third year in a row.
9 wins in 2 years. That sounds more like it, don't it?
No, you hating. Don't worry, we're gonna be at the game this year. Cowboys versus Panthers in Charlotte. We're gonna be there. Front and
I'm
center.
not giving Jerry no more of my money.
Y'all come. We coming.
You be giving Carolina your money.
Yeah, you giving it Dave Tepper. Yeah, see, look, Dave Tepper to be donating to the North Carolinas. They rebuilding North Carolina out there, so it's a good cause.
Well, all right, fellas, I'm about to head on
Bring
now.
your money
Man.
to the Panthers organization.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate y'all again. Thanks for having me, man. Enjoy it as always. Looking forward to the next time too as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we appreciate you. Thank you.
So y'all
All right.
stay safe out there. And,
Yep. Thanks for stopping by.
On the road to New Orleans. We got a lot of draft and free
Yes,
agency
sir.
and all that kind of stuff to talk about too. So that's coming up. So I'm Be Wise.
I'm Mallz.
Yeah, Trey's
Trigga.
Trey's there, baby.
And we are out. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
All right. Peace.
See y'all
fellas.
later. Thank you.